Alright, so like we do every single week, we are back with another Grow a Garden update video. I've got a full guide for everything that you need to do. As you're watching this, I will more than likely be live because we're pretty much waiting for right now for the admin abuse to start. So if you're interested in more following along with this and being able to ask me questions live, then feel free to go ahead and jump in there. If you want to just go ahead and continue on with the video, make sure you guys drop a like, subscribe to the channel so that way you do not miss any of my full guide videos, as well as leaks and pretty much any news on Grow a Garden starting as of this week. With that being said, let's get started with the video. Now, as you can probably see from the beanstalk here in the middle, not really a lot has changed. This is sort of like a continuation of the beanstalk event. So for the most part, everything here is working the exact same as before. You're going to have this guy over here that's looking for different types of plants. To figure out exactly what he's looking for, it is extremely simple. You just go into your inventory, search for the guide, open up the garden guide, go to plants, and inside of here, you will be able to see whichever one it is that he's looking for. For example, right now he's looking for vegetables. If we head on over to carrots, right over here under traits, you'll see that this is considered a vegetable. So if you would like to, you can place a bunch of carrots down and turn them into him, and it will count towards the vegetables that he's looking for. Pretty straightforward. Like I said, nothing has changed there from last week. What has changed is the obby for the beanstalk. If we go ahead and sort of travel around here, you'll probably notice that there is now, right off the start, a ladder that you climb, and then there is sort of like different spots that you can take. You can either take shortcuts around by climbing the actual beanstalk, or you could take some of these jump pads and do it that way if you see it more comfortable that way. Yes, it's a little more tedious to sort of climb up now, but I mean, for the most part, it isn't impossible. But there is somewhat of a catch compared to last week. Basically, every single time that you go ahead and complete the beanstalk, now there's a chance for you to be able to get a golden beanstalk, which, as I'm sure you guessed it, turns basically this entire beanstalk from green to golden. But the point is that it actually goes ahead and increases all of the rewards that you get throughout the entire climb up from the orbs. So far, I've seen as crazy as 10 sprout eggs being rewarded. So yeah, the rewards get pretty good. But now once we reach the top, you'll notice that there is two things going on here that are sort of brand new. For starter, our giant buddy over here now has a friendship level right above his head. To increase this, you basically have to go ahead and feed him food. Now this sounds a little bit confusing because at first a lot of you might think that you just have to give him, for example, a straight up grape. You know, you just walk up to him and give him a grape. Unfortunately, that is not the case. You basically have to go ahead and cook individual food. It doesn't exactly matter what you give him, but the higher the rarity and the bigger the food is, the more points you are going to receive. As you notice right here, I have a small soup that is also just unfortunately an uncommon. I'm more than likely going to get like 1 or 2 points for this. If you notice right there, 2 points. Not really the best, but I will say something as simple as just combining 1 Ember Lily and 1 Candy Blossom to make that divine or prismatic sweet tea is pretty much going to be my go-to way of leveling him up all the way. But yeah, once you've gone ahead and done this, you can then speak to the giant and ask him what he is selling. On the right-hand side, you're going to see that there is now 2 tabs. We have the main tab as well as the friendship. In the main tab, you're going to find a lot of really familiar things, but also a lot of new things. For example, Sprout Seed Pack still very much in here with the same exact rewards inside. On the other hand, you have things like the Golden Goose painting, the Bean Chair, the giant painting. All of these are cosmetic items that can be purchased. As we progress down the list, you have obviously the Sprout Egg, the Mandrake, Sprout Crate, Silver Fertilizer, Canary. All of these were already there from last week, so nothing in that department has sort of changed. The only additional things that have been added for the main section is obviously these 3 cosmetics. If we switch on over now to the friendship tab, inside of here, you're going to find the brand new Skyroot chest, as well as kind of like a boatload of cosmetic items. You have the Griffin statue, bouncy mushrooms, beanstalk painting, can of beans, and then you get to the good stuff, which is the glow pod seed as well as the flare melon seed. These are going to be important because you're going to need both of these in order to craft one of the new seeds. We'll get to that in just a second. I'm kind of getting ahead of myself. But as we scroll down even further on the list here, you'll see that there is a brand new pet shard, which is called Giant Bean. And finally, a brand new pet called Gnome. To unlock every single item, as you can see right here, you do need to go ahead and get your friendship up to level 6. I've already gone ahead and pretty much gotten my hands on every single one of these things. So I will be showing it to you. I guess they kind of like buffed the amount of points required to get him to level 6 because now I'm level 4 again, but originally I was level 6. Either way, we'll go over all of those rewards in full detail once we're done talking about the crafting table. To the right hand side of the giant over here, you're going to find this crafting table. Over here, you'll have the opportunity to go ahead and create more Skyroot chests as well as more sprout eggs. And at the very bottom, you'll also be able to make some of the giant bean pet shards inside of here without, having to wait for them to spawn inside of the shop. Besides that, the rest of the stuff in here is purely cosmetic stuff. You have the bean pull table, bean sprout float light, as well as the green bean memories. For the third thing on here, though, is what I was talking to you guys about before, where you are going to need that flare melon and the glow pod, as well as 2 beanstalks and 5.5 million shekels. This will give you the opportunity to go ahead and make a willow berry. Now, in case you're curious, inside of the chest, we do have 3 brand new seeds, as well as 3 brand new pets. Again, we'll go over all of that stuff in full detail in just a second. I just want to sort of touch bases on all of the new things that were added first, and then we'll go into looking at the individual rewards. Now, 2 things on the list right here for the crafting. Number 1, to make sprout eggs, you'll notice that it is required to have uncommon eggs. These have been added inside of the shop once again, because previously I believe they were like uncommon summer eggs or something like that. So those have been completely changed in the shop. I will show you in just a second, because the second thing that you're also going to notice in here is the cleansing pet shard. So let's now head over here to the gear shop, which you'll notice that right down here, cleansing pet shard is now inside of the gear shop. It is a divine. Don't exactly remember how much this is worth. I think it's a couple million. It really isn't that expensive, but it does only spawn really so often. It's not as common as something like the favorite tool or the harvest tool. Now, unfortunately, that is the only thing that was added new inside of the gear shop. But if we move on over here to the pet eggs, as mentioned before, here is the uncommon egg, 150k for 2 of them. And that pretty much does it for the new things. Unfortunately, there is no new seed inside of the seed shop, but there is technically one other thing that was added. And for that, we're going to have to travel over here to the garden guide. For starters, if you notice at the very bottom here, they've gone ahead and implemented you being able to see what fences you're going to be unlocking every single time that you hit a certain level. In the current state of the game, it maxes out at level 50 where you get the golden fence. But realistically, the coolest one here is going to be level 40, which is the jail fence. But none of that is even remotely as cool as the brand new achievement section. If you notice, we now have a core plants as well as core pets. The plant section is still the exact same. Nothing has changed over here, with obviously your reward being the statue of achievement and the 100 backpack slots once you complete every single achievement in here. The core pets, on the other hand, is kind of interesting. For starters, you get a mega lollipop as a reward, an egg incubator, and a pet shard that is rainbow. Unfortunately, I do not believe a single person in the test server has the egg incubator. I've tried my best to ask around to see if any of the other testers have it, and unfortunately, not a single person that I've been able to communicate with has gotten the egg incubator, nor have they been able to get another item that you can get here, which is actually a reward for completing the divine achievements inside of the pet section. If you notice right over here, it says mutation machine booster. So I'm not sure if this just slaps onto the original mutation machine and just sort of gives it like an overall boost. Not sure. Again, not something that anyone that I know or have been able to communicate with has gotten. But with that being said, though, the Mega Lollipop, I actually got not 1, but 2. So that's just another one of those things that I'm going to be showing you guys once we go over everything in full detail. The new plants, the new pets, and their passives, which as a matter of fact, this is now a perfect time to go ahead and transition to that. So let's go ahead and start off with the brand new seeds first. We're going to be going over Glow Pod, Flare Melon, Crown of Thorns, Kaya Lily, and the Cyclamen. We also obviously can't forget the Willowberry. So let's head on over to my garden and check these out. All right, so all of the other ones I have over in my other loadout for my garden, but I do have the Flare Melon here. So let's go ahead and grab a cleaning spray. We're going to take off wet from this one right here, and then we're going to go ahead and collect this. But yeah, as you can see right here, it is a multi-use plant with every single one of them pretty much spawning a total of 2 fruits on it. Traits for this is stocky and sour. Price on this one right here with absolutely no mutations on it whatsoever is going to be 91,666. Now, next one up here, we've got the Glow Pod. That way we keep it sort of all together here. So Glow Pod is a single grow, but it is a multi-use. If you take a look over here, the traits for this are woody, leafy, as well as a night. And the sell value on this one with no mutations is going to be 27,000. So not really the best. Now, that was kind of expected considering Glow Pod as well as the Flare Melon are fairly easy to get, if I'm gonna be honest with you. Now, let's transition over to the ones that you get from the chest, being Crown of Thorns as the easiest one here. We'll use the magnifying glass on this, 36,361 for this one right here. Over here, 32,604. So anywhere in that 30k to 40k range. Next up, we have planted here 3 of the Kaya Lilies. I've gone ahead and used magnifying as well as the cleansing spray on the first one to the left hand side, 110k. It is a single grow but a multi-use, so if I go ahead and sort of collect this right here, it will go ahead and regrow again, but it is only growing one at a time, unfortunately. Next up is the Cyclamen, I think that's what it's pronounced, or the Cyclamen, something along those lines. Either way, this is the 1% plant right here. Rather large, honestly. Pretty cool looking. It can actually grow quite a number of them, anywhere between 5 and 6 is from what I've seen. Let's use a cleaning spray right here and magnifying glass, 182k, which is honestly not bad at all, and the servers are restarting. Fantastic. Talk about perfect timing. They just went ahead and completely removed the update from the test server. So if you notice on the left hand side, it says 12 hours now. That means that the server is completely wiped of the update. And even if I open up the guide, the pet section is now completely gone. So this is exactly the reason why I always try to like speed run through the first stuff and then show you guys the plants and the pets and the passives at the end, because even if they remove the update, I still get to keep those. Either way, as we were saying before, Cyclamen is actually pretty decent, anywhere between, and then they literally update it again. This time, they are dropping the update in 9 minutes, so they're still not done testing. This is the life of the test server. It's a crazy chaotic thing. Moral is, guys, Cyclamen is a W in my book. I'm excited to get my hands on this one. Ranges anywhere between 180k all the way up to as high as like 220k without obviously any sprinkler. Now, finally, for these seeds, we've got over here the Willowberry. Not much to say about this one. As you can see, it is a multi-use. We've got ourselves 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 total that can grow up here. So pretty decent. And I also went ahead and grabbed one of them to see what the price is before we get any mutations on them. This one is looking like it is going to be 103k. So honestly, just as good as the Cyclamen. Obviously a little bit less as good because it's kind of just like a craftable one, but definitely a good contender, honestly. So let's now go ahead and go over all of the brand new pets. So the first one up is going to be Elk. This is obviously the uncommon from inside of the chest. It says 2.57% chance berry fruit stays after collecting. Rare plants have rare chance to replant. Not sure why there's haves and have, but it is what it is. Next up, we've got the Mandrake. Not to be confused for the Mandrake seed. This is one of the new pets. It says harvesting Mandrake crops have a 3.60% chance to apply the rot mutation, pretty much to any random fruit in your entire garden. Unfortunately, I've had this down for pretty much, dude, I want to say since like yesterday. And I literally haven't really picked anything up from here, and not a single one of my plants has rot. So I don't really know how to say this, but like I can't actually show you what the rot looks like because it just literally hasn't happened. I'll see if at some point I go ahead and drop some more of those Mandrake seeds and pick them up and see if for some miracle it happens again. But dude, I've literally put put down the mandrake seeds, picked them up, waited all this time. Maybe it's just when I was doing it, maybe it was still bugged. Obviously, it's a test server. You guys will get better results than me. Next one on the list is going to be Gnome, which you can obviously obtain from inside of the shop. This one is kind of interesting because it says every 10 minutes it has a 1.06% chance to mutate a random fruit with the Gnome mutation. It gains an additional 1% for every gnome cosmetic that you have in your garden. You guys probably noticed that at my entrance in my other loadout, I actually have a bunch of gnomes kind of like lined up right here on the wall. So yeah, that one's pretty interesting. Obviously, it is a little tiny gnome kind of just walking around your farm. Pretty funny looking, honestly. That now leaves us with the final one, obviously the holy grail of this being the Griffin. Now, of course, you guys know that my luck is absolutely cooked. So I did take a picture of what this looks like in game. This is actually with the Mega Beanstalk pet shard on it. So it's going to be this green color effect. And here's actually what it does. So it says Giant Bean Griffin. Every 15 minutes and 30 seconds, it flaunts his wings and releases a cyclone. Pet struck have a cooldown advanced by 67.94 seconds, and fruit struck have a 10.44% chance to get the cyclone mutation. On top of that, if you do end up putting that giant bean pet shard on this pet or on any pet, as you can see right here, it says pet is a giant bean, has 15% faster hunger rate, but gains an additional 50 XP per second for each beanstalk plant in your garden. As someone with like about 45 beanstalk seeds, I'm kind of happy about that, not gonna lie, but at the same time, I'm never gonna get that Griffin, so I could care less. Also, before I go ahead and forget, I do have the Mega Lollipop. Let's go ahead and see what this does actually. So right now, my gnome is level 17. If we put this on the gnome, what will it do? Let's see. Oh, it instantly makes it level 100. What? Okay, I was not expecting that. Wait a minute, bro. That's actually kind of insane. And I believe that in total, when you do complete the achievements, you get 5 of these, if I remember correctly. It's either 5 or 3 of them. I can't exactly check right now because they did remove the update once again. Either way, man, for the most part, that's everything that is for this update. If you enjoyed the video, like I said before, make sure to drop a like, subscribe to the channel. We do this every single week. Swing by the live stream. We should be live right now as you're watching this. We're going to be checking out the entire admin wars, as well as going over the entire update with you guys. That's going to do it for this video. Like always, I will see you guys in the next one. Take care.